All right. First page. First page. Any of those you would like to see? You're not sure about?
4.
Number 4.
5.
Okay, number 4. Let's do 4 first. X, Y axes. Can I get the equation y equals 3 over 2x minus 5? Still with me? My y-intercept is going to be 0, negative 5. Agree?
Yep.
Put a dot. Okay, and then from there, I'm going to find my slope. So from this dot, I'm going to go up 3 and to the right 2. Done. You said number 5 you wanted to see?
No, we did that in class.
Okay.
Number 14.
Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, we're all good?
Yeah.
8, or 6 through 10. 6 through 10.
8.
8. All right, use the intercept method. Okay, so if I cover up the y, that means my y value is going to be 0, correct? If I cover up the y, what's x equal to? 8, so 8 comma 0. Is right there. If I cover up my x value, that means my x value is going to be 0. Cover up my x value, I get negative 4y equals 8. So what's y equal to?
Negative 2.
Negative 2. Done.
Wait.
Especially when you talk during the whole time that I'm explaining it. But I'm not quite sure why you're confused on the cover method. Alex.
Number 10.
10, you got it. All right, here's another cover. Watch. Oh, wait. Okay, if I cover the y, that means my y value is going to be 0. Does that much verbiage make sense? 3 times x equals 9, so what's x equal to? 3. Okay, if I cover my x value, that means my x value is going to be 0. So negative y equals 9, so what's y equal to?
Negative 9.
Negative 9. Cool. Rom, you had one, 15, 14, 19, something like that. How much? 14. So this is already set up in point slope form. Agree, everybody? My slope is sitting out here as a 1. Make sense? So my slope is equal to 1. My point that I'd like to plot is what? Negative 3. It's always opposite. Negative 3, comma, negative 1. Always opposite. So plot the point first. And then from that, I'm going to use my slope. So I'm going to go up 1, right 1. Done. Any others on this entire worksheet? $15. 15 is set up in point slope form as well. What is my slope?
Negative 3 over 4.
Yep, negative 3 over 4. And my point is what?
Negative 1, 3.
Negative 1, positive 3. All right. So from this point, I'm going to go down 3, and I'm going to go right 4. Done. Good. Yeah. 13. 13 is also set up in point slope form. What is my slope? 1/3. What is my point? 1, -7. Good. From there, I'm going to go up 1 and to the right 3. Done. Good. Okay, make sure your name is on this, and anything else you're handed in, pass it on forward, please. Yep. What you got? You have it? Passing her up? What's this? Oh. I got you. And put your name on it. Let's put a mark on it first. Oh, I didn't mark it? Well, it's an old one?
Yeah, because you said I didn't turn it in today because I need them to have this Friday.
Yeah. Old. That's a note for me.
This Wednesday.
Yes, so you guys come in a little later. Any more homework out there that I'm missing other than Gentry's?
Wait, so Wednesday what?
Wednesday's a collaboration day, so everything starts like 40 minutes or an hour later or something like that. I don't know what the schedule is. Look it up. Hey, Gentry. Yeah, so everything's a little shorter.
That means I get to sleep like an extra hour.
Alright. So I want to review a few things, then we have a little packet to work on. See how we do. So standard form. Standard form is ax plus by is equal to c. Okay, this allows us to find where it crosses the x and y axis. This is a good thing to use as long as the hardest fraction that you're trying to graph is in the halves. Like 3 1/2. Did that make sense? But if you had like 3 5/16 to graph, I'm not quite sure where you want to do that. So this is a good one when A and B go into C. Okay? This is the one where if it's like this, the cover method is basically you're finding, so if this is 0, you're covering this. So negative 4y would be equal to 24, so I get negative 6. This is my y component. I'd cover this up. 3x equals 24, so I'd get this. Those are really nice points. Those are really nice points. Now, if I had a bad one to graph, let's say we had negative 2x plus 5y equals 17. Okay? Well, put a 0 in here, 0 for the y, so I put a 0 for x, 5y, that gives me 17/5, which comes out to 3 2/5. Are you real good on accurately finding 3 2/5? Not as good as you could be, but no, you might be really good. I don't know. And then this one would be negative 17 halves. So this one wouldn't be so bad because that's negative 9 and a half, or negative 8 and a half, excuse me. So that might work, but this would be kind of a bad example of using the cover method. So you might need to modify it in order to find a little better way of graphing it. Would you agree with that? Does that seem okay? Okay, so that's standard form. We're just kind of reviewing these a little bit. Slope, this is a map that we use to find a second point. So slope equation's constant. It's a go-to equation that you should know. You need to know. I don't care how you need to know it. Figure it out. Get to know it. Okay? So the slope is not a point, but it's a map that would, if you had one point already, it's a map that will allow you to find a second point, or a third point, or a fourth point. The slope of a line is always the same, no matter where on the line you're at. And then you get the point slope, which looks a lot like the slope equation. It's just we dropped the subs, so we have our slope, and then we have this point. And this point is always opposite of what's here and here. It's opposite value. Is that the homework going back around? Find yours. Sweet. Anybody else in here? Dave's not here. Corey. I have two no-namers. Perhaps I'll pass those up tomorrow so you guys can maybe identify. Okay, so the point slope equation, you can't, you identify what the slope is. The slope can be positive, it can be negative, it can be zero, or it can't be zero in this case. It could be 1. Okay, but find the point, utilize the point, plot it, and use the slope to find a second point. And then you have slope-intercept, which looks like this, where 0, comma b is where it crosses the y-axis. So that's the vertical component, right? And then use slope to map second point. Okay? So that's a little bit what we got. We reviewed it, we've talked about it, we've gone with it. Okay, so a few things to know. There is a Schoology assignment due Thursday. Most of you got it done. Yes? I didn't. Yeah?
Was that the one that you told us about last week?
Yep. I didn't create anything new. It's pretty quick. I think it was matching up all the equations. This is the slope equation. This is the point slope equation. This is standard form. This is slope intercept. And then there was a true false one. It was like a little word problem about somebody raking leaves and how many bags of leaves, right? Remember that? So it's pretty short, pretty quick, which is great. This exercise, let me pass it out to you first, and we will discuss how a good option of doing this would be. Tomorrow we do have a quiz. So we're not like all your other teachers. We're not going to give you a quiz the Friday before break. You know what? I don't feel like grading right before break. Right? So a few things that I've noted about this class, which congratulations are in order for all of you. This algebra class is doing quite well. What we do is when we get together as teachers, we take a look at all the different classes we have. So CP Algebra 1. As far as this school goes, and there's, I believe, 17 sections of it. This is one of them. Of those 17 sections, they have an average score of 78%. So if you took all the grades of all the kids in all 17 sections and found out what the average grade was, 78%. Us, right now, this class, and only this class, has an 85% average. So we are 7% above the average. And I don't think it's because I'm an easy grader. I think it's because I'm a good grader, and I think it's because you guys are dialed in on this class. I've looked at some of your other grades. Okay, I can do a quick lookup on each and every one of you. And some of you, like if you have 88% in here, you have right around that same type of grade, plus or minus 2% in all your other classes. Like you might have like a 90 in English, an 86 in science, something like that. So you're right there. But some of you have like in the 80% in here, and then have like 60% in everything else. So whatever I'm doing to influence you, continue doing that. And if you need help with me for other classes to get you caught up, let's figure it out. But, this class, you're doing well. You're doing real well. So, congratulations for you guys in doing what you're doing. Okay? So this worksheet, it's just kind of a sorting thing. So I just want you to flip through it a little bit. On the very first page, these kind of directions. And then the back of that says linear sorting and matching, which says graph A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J. You guys see that one? And then it says there's an equation, and there's a slope-intercept, and the table of values, and a description. Okay? So what I would do if I were working on this is I would go to the page that has all of the 10 linear equations listed. Okay? It's up to you however you want to do this. Okay? It's not necessary, but you can. Okay, so find that page that has all the linear equations on it. And with that, then start looking at those linear equations and flip back and forth between the graph and the linear equations. So like if you go to graph A, you're going to notice that graph A crosses the y-axis at positive 3. So if you're looking at one of those, that might work there. And it also has a negative slope to it, so figure that out. So match up the graph to the equation, and then once you got that done, the page that's after the graphs, so it goes from problems 11 through 20, it asks for what the slope and the y-intercept of each of them would be. And then there's a table of values. Okay, and the table of values is, if you were to plug an x value in, you get the appropriate y value out. It's the points that would establish. The very back page, 31 through 40, like 31 says this graph has the same slope as graph B. 32, this graph has the steepest negative slope. 33, this graph has a negative slope and a negative y-intercept. So those are things that you just kind of have to go. So what you would do with all of that information is the front of the back page of the front page, that's the table, is you're listing, okay, graph A, what's the equation? Well, you're using the equation to find the graph. So let's say number 3 goes with graph C, write that equation in. And then figure out the slope and the y-intercept. You can see a lot of that from the graph. The table of values is just something that you would start thinking, which points fit up. So let's see how well you can do on this. I'm going to give you guys the next 15 minutes to see how far you can get, and then I will post the answers.